Signing day is behind us, but we're still here. Welcome into the Commitment Issues podcast, as we do every week. I'm Rob Cassidy. I'm joined by Woody Womack, my co-host, as he is every week. And we've got a special guest this week, Woody, right? This is the first guest in the history of this illustrious podcast.
Yeah, how about that? I was out making the banquet tour after a successful signing day. You know, we had so much success that I was even invited to speak at an event here in Atlanta, and wouldn't you know it, Butch Jones had to follow me on stage. So before we went on and gave our speeches and everything like that, I had a chance to sit down with Butch, and we kind of talked about a few things. I only made one error during the interview, which you will hear, is I talked about Sherrion Jones, the quarterback from California. Actually, he transferred and now has transferred back. I didn't realize he had transferred back, so I sort of flubbed up on that one. But other than that, here it goes. Me and Butch Jones talking about the Vols signing day and recruiting strategies for 2017. All right, we're joined now by the head coach of Tennessee, Butch Jones, the first ever guest on our podcast, actually. So congratulations on that honor.
Well, I'm excited about it. Thank you. And it's something that I'll remember forever, and looking forward to the podcast.
The Tennessee fans, I'm sure, have highly anticipated our conversation since they think that you have an adversarial relationship with the recruiting media, but we all know that we work together all the time, right?
Well, that's exactly right. It's all about the student-athlete and just concluding signing day, and it was a great day for us.
Now, we're actually here at the I Dare You event in Atlanta. It's a big training group. A lot of top-notch players come through here. I don't think none that you signed this year, though, right? No Tennessee signings.
No,
here?
But we're in the process of building the relationships. When you look at this organization and what it does for these young men and going away to college, and this is what it's all about, is the development of young adults. And so anytime you can come here and be around all these people and all these successful individuals and all these kids, it makes for a great evening.
Now, you guys had another great recruiting class, especially that final weekend. The final push was big. I think the one guy that kind of looked like he was going to catch the attention of the country was Jonathan Kongbo. People were wondering what he was doing. Did you guys know you had that letter coming in? Were you sweating it all on signing day? What was that like?
Well, I think you always sweat it out. When you get up in the morning of signing day, you think you know that you have a pretty good idea of the way the day is going to go, but you never know for sure. And you never feel good until the facts comes in. But it was a great day for us. Obviously, Jonathan Kongbo at the end, Tyler Bird at the end. There were some individuals that really, I thought really elevated our recruiting class, and we're excited about all of our signees. But anytime you can add individuals of that stature, you're excited about that.
And Tyler was kind of a guy from, the old state of Miami, we used to call it, down in Naples. Not a lot of guys get out of that area. I mean, even Edgerrin James is from down there in Immokalee and stuff like that. How did that process go, and how important was Larry to pulling him out of there?
Larry Scott was a big part of it, along with Robert Gillespie, and then Carlin Felice and me as well too. Did a great job with it. But it's all about relationships, and Tyler was an individual that that we built a relationship for a long period of time. But I think when we had the ability to hire Larry Scott and bring him on board as a great member of our staff, I think that really helped, because as you know, recruiting is nothing but a relationship business.
Right, exactly. And a lot of coaches took this weekend off. We know Demetris Robertson, who's a 5-star, who's still out and about. He didn't take any visits this weekend because a lot of staffs were out. You're not on vacation. You're here working, like you said, shaking hands, kissing babies. Does it ever stop for you? Do you get a break after this is over?
I'll get a break on Sunday for the Super Bowl, and that's about it. And then we're on to the next phase of the development of our football team and our football program. This is the time of year that I like. Obviously, we love recruiting and really working towards the future of Tennessee football, but now it's on to really getting around our current team. And this is the time of year that I love, because you get to be around them now every day. You get to grow and develop them, and then you get to do football as well, and we'll quality control every aspect of our football program. We'll go on visits with other staffs and bring other coaching staffs in as well, and then we'll get ready for spring football.
You guys had some early enrollees too get in. How have they been doing so far on campus since they've been there?
They've done a great job. The last previous 2 years, we've led the country in early enrollees, and this year we've had 4. They've done a great job, and really, really proud of our current players. They've done a great job of really embracing them into our football family and really teaching them the standards and expectations that are existing in our football program.
Since you came to Tennessee, you guys have been recruiting a little more nationally. I mean, we've seen you dip out. You got a quarterback out of California. He's not there anymore, but still, that was a guy. I mean, now you mentioned Florida. The state of Tennessee in 2017, I know you can't talk about specific players, but do you think it's a above average year for talent? What have you seen so far from the film you've been able to watch?
It's going to be a very good year in the state of Tennessee, and we take care of home first. That's first and foremost. We have to take care of the state of Tennessee and then venture into our other areas. And this was a year where we were able to maintain our roots in Tennessee but venture off. And Georgia's always a big part of our recruiting efforts. It's kind of a home state for us, so to speak. We were able to sign 5 players from Georgia and then get into Florida and sign 5 players as well. So you had mentioned Naples, getting into Naples and signing 2 players out of there. So again, we're excited because we made some inroads in some other areas that are going to be critical for us, but it all starts with home, and that's the state of Tennessee.
Do you think overall, you recruited that state when you were at Cincinnati. Do you think the talent level has risen, and do you think maybe is that tied to population? What would you attribute that to?
Absolutely. We have great talent within our state and great football coaches as well. And, if you look at the last couple years, the state of Tennessee has been critical in the evolution of our football program and really elevating our football program. When you look at Jalen Hurd and Derek Barnett, Jayshon Robertson, Rashawn Golden, Josh Malone, we can go on. And, all these players are from the state of Tennessee. And as you know, Tennessee is a very proud football program. When we stay at home and represent the University of Tennessee, Vol for life means everything.
All right, well, that wraps it up for us, Butch. We got to get out there and speak. So thanks once again for joining us on the Commitment Issues podcast.
Well, thank you, and thank you for all that you do for college football as well.
All right, appreciate it.
And that was, as you heard, that was Butch Jones, the first interview in the history of the Commitment Issues podcast. My favorite part of that interview was at the beginning when he told you he'll remember this moment forever, which is just like the most dry sarcasm. It's right in the Rob Cassidy wheelhouse,
Well, what stinks is Butch said, we thought we only had 5 minutes, and the event ended up running long, and then we went ahead and sat there and talked about recruiting for like an additional 10 minutes when it wasn't recording. So there were a few nuggets left off the radar there.
Nuggets.
So
Christ.
If anybody has any questions, for those of you, hopefully there's a lot of new listeners here. We want to remind you to listen to the podcast on iTunes. Just search for Commitment Issues. Go ahead and subscribe there, and every week we will be beamed directly into your cell phone. You won't have to search us out on SoundCloud or other recording devices. So do that.
And hopefully next week we'll have another SEC coach. I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves here before we have it lined up, but hopefully next week we'll follow this up with another SEC coach on the podcast, which we're going to try to have more guests, right, in the off season. I mean, since it's a little bit of a slower time in recruiting, it's going to be nice to chat with some guests.
Yeah, I think because we don't have as many pressing issues and then coaches are more available, we'll try to get some coaches on. A lot of player interviews. We got another one coming up later in the show. But kind of let's talk about Butch. Him and I talked about the 2017 class in the state of Tennessee. Interesting comments from him. It seems like they only signed a few in-state guys this year. It seemed like he was kind of suggesting that they're going to go harder this year in the state.
Yeah, and I think that's something that every coach says. They want to take care of the backyard first. I forgot exactly how he worded it. We want to take care of home first or whatever. Every coach is going to say that, but I think with a state like Tennessee, it's becoming more and more important, as you and I have noted on this podcast in the past. That seems to be one of those states, a little bit like Alabama, in which the talent level seems to be increasing.
Yeah, and we have Texas A&M went in and signed a couple guys this year. Ole Miss is always recruiting out of there, so Notre Dame even only one player, and then Michigan signed a guy. So we're seeing a lot of schools reaching into Tennessee, and of course the Vols want to lock that down. The guys I'm watching, and it may be as soon as this weekend, T. Higgins, top 100 wide receiver, and Mari Rogers, a top 250 wide receiver. Both of them from the Knoxville area, right in the backyard of Tennessee. It looks like Rogers is heading to Clemson. He's expected to commit on Saturday. The question is, does Higgins follow? We know Clemson absolutely loves T. Higgins. He was committed to the Vols forever, and now all of a sudden he reopens his commitment after visiting Tennessee. The writing's on the wall there. How big of a loss do you think that would be to miss out on both of those guys?
It's really hard to view those kind of things in a vacuum. You know how I kind of am. I like the big picture. I don't think it is if you can replace them and supplement them with somebody else. You won't really know how big of a loss it is until everything's said and done. For right now, it looks like it's pretty bad, but you never really know in those situations.
Yeah, I think they're going to be. Of course, as we're talking about, each player has already decommitted once. Rodgers was committed to USC, where his dad T. Martin is the offensive coordinator, and then Higgins decommitted from Tennessee. So if they go in February, that doesn't mean Tennessee's going to stop recruiting them. But I think it would be a big blow to kind of lose both of them. So back to our favorite topic, Jonathan Kongbo. All of a sudden, there's some drama. I don't know if have you been paying attention to any of that, Rob?
A little bit. But my question is, in the interview we just heard, if there's no letter of intent, what's exactly going on here?
Well, they're allowed to talk about him if he signed the financial.
He's got the grant name,
right?
Okay.
So they're allowed to talk about him. So we're free there. We had Georgia worried about secondary violations with the Jaden Hunter video. We don't need Tennessee getting on our case too. Boy, I tell you what.
This guy's the best, isn't he? I mean, he's just like, every day that something else is like surrounding this guy. I think I like him so much because he is such an enigma. First of all, he committed to like 5 schools, which just makes me, I love that kind of move. And now that there's a missing letter of intent, even now, it makes me, it adds some more intrigue. I'm really hoping maybe he just ends up at somebody completely off the radar, like he accidentally faxed his letter to Western Michigan or something.
Well, what's interesting is he tweeted today. I mean, we're recording this on Monday. He tweeted today that it's all good. Hey, Tennessee, I'm coming. But I saw some guys on the Tennessee board laying like, well, then just sign the letter. It takes 10 seconds.
Sorry, Vol fans, screwed up. Misdid a number in the area code. I'm actually going to go play for Albany next year. Just wrong because I got the wrong number.
Well, the players don't need to sign a letter of intent, so he doesn't have to. He might just not do it, and that's okay. That's within his right. I don't expect him to end up anywhere else than Tennessee. I don't understand what.
I don't either.
My one confusing part is, what is it? Why do his parents have to sign the letter of intent? How old is he? He's got to be 20, 21, maybe even, right? I mean,
if he's a junior college, unless he's like a Doogie Howser type.
Right, so my guess would be, I don't understand that being the holdup with the parents needing to sign. I mean, my mom wouldn't even sign my FAFSA when I was trying to apply for financial aid, and I just forged her signature and put it on there. So come on, Kongbo, get with the program. get with the program, man. So listen, worth noting, the last thing I want to touch on Tennessee-wise before we move on, Jonathan Kongbo's Twitter handle and Instagram handle are both at @King_Kongbo. So I think he does not want to be called King Kong. He wants to be called King Kongbo, right?
It would make sense. And, we've talked about this topic a little bit more than probably necessary, but it just seems like the more obvious nickname, right? I mean, King Kong's too generic, and you call anybody King Kong. If your last name's Kongbo, you're kind of inviting it.
All right, so yesterday... today's Tuesday. I think I said today was Monday. That shows you where my mind is at right now. Yesterday, being Monday, I drove down to Savannah, Georgia, and back, which is a short 4-hour jaunt for me, and I went down and talked to Demetris Robertson, the last man standing from the Rivals 250 to sign a letter of intent or a grant and aid letter. And him and I kind of talked. We went for 15 minutes talking about everything regarding his recruitment. So we'll kind of roll into that now and see what Demetris has to say. Of course, we were in a busy area, a lot of noise in the background, so please pardon our dust when it comes to that situation. But without further ado, Nick's favorite catchphrase, here is Demetris Robertson. All right, we're joined now by Demetris Robertson, 5-star, the last man standing, unsigned. What's it been like for you in the week now since signing day ended?
It's been pretty hectic. A lot of coaches, I'm calling my phone, asking when the visit's going to happen and stuff like that. Just trying to really get me on campus.
You seem like you've been kind of just being chill. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. I mean, like, a lot of people been blowing up my phone and stuff like that, so trying to lay back a little bit.
Who's calling you?
Georgia, Notre Dame, Stanford, Cal, Georgia Tech still.
No new schools though called since signing day passed. Maybe hoping they could get in the mix.
I mean, I talked to like Ohio State and Bama. Well, Bama still, yeah.
Oh, okay. How much did those schools push for you to sign on Wednesday? Was there like a
Push me to sign?
Yeah.
Only probably Notre Dame. Notre Dame probably was the only one who pushed me to sign on signing day.
What were they saying?
Nah, it was like, if you feel like signing on signing day, I mean, just go ahead and do it, you know, things like that. And I was like, I don't know, I'm probably wait it out.
But they wanted that letter, huh? They wanted it in hand. So when was the point where you kind of knew, like, when did it hit you in January that you knew you were going to kind of have to wait past signing day?
Probably the week after the Army Bowl.
Oh, really? So you were looking at your schedule and just kind of figuring it's not going to happen. What was it that made you realize that?
Just because they really wanted me to get my scores up and see where I can go from that. Because the admission process for Stanford is like pretty hard to get in. So, and they want me to take my time and, you know, and try my best to get into school. So we did it that way.
You took all AP classes in the fall, right? How did that work out?
Oh, it worked out pretty well. I mean, I maintained high honor roll. So.
I know you said it was hard at first. Talk about that adjustment to.
Oh, it was pretty hard. Because last year I didn't take any AP classes. It's just a lot of more workload, just a lot of more homework, a lot of more papers. You can't really like hang out with your friends a lot. You just gotta do a lot of work and stuff like that. So
now
you gotta cut back.
You have the score now to get into every other school that you've applied for. Okay, so you're good at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm good with everybody else.
Good with Cal.
Yeah.
When will you know? I guess in a few days. Right?
11, only February 11th. That's when I should know.
Do you feel like you did better? Or?
I feel like I improved on it. I didn't know like boost myself up. Like no, I did this, but I did feel like I did better on it. So.
What did Stanford tell you needed to get in?
I had to have a 1,500. Have A's and B's on my. I can't make any C's, and I have my admission process got to be really well. I got to write my essays really well.
So you haven't applied yet, then, right? Because
I'm starting to apply. I'm starting to write my essays right now.
Oh, okay.
Just in case.
What are the?
Well, I haven't I brainstorm on it. I haven't really, you know what I'm saying.
Did they give you topics yet? What are the topics?
One of them was like, why would you consider Stanford? Another one was like, they gave me like 5 things to talk about, like race, color, religious beliefs, and sex, and like one more. And we got you got to choose like out of the 2 and write like 2 like essays about those. Then like 3 more things you got to write about, something like that.
Okay, so it sounds like a long process. Then. So if you get that score on the 11th, I guess we're recording this on the 8th. So in 3 days, if you get that score, then that's when you start the rest of the admission process?
Yeah. If I get that score, then we'll start the admission process, take the visit out there, see how it is.
So when you scheduled that test date, it ended up conflicting with the first Alabama trip. Did you know that at the time?
I did not know. My brother, because we scheduled it really late, we kind of like fell back on the time because the Army Bowl and stuff like that, and we didn't really realize the date and stuff like that. So we had to do that, go ahead and get it in.
Now, someone had told me that you called Alabama on signing day. Was that true?
No. Oh, it was way before signing day.
But that when the way things signing day was breaking down, that you reached out to them or you had talked to the coaches there.
I talked to them before that. We talked like that. When was signing day? That Wednesday?
Yeah.
We talked like that Saturday, like my Georgia Tech visit.
Right. You were supposed to go out. I was
supposed to go there. Yeah, we talked that Saturday. It's like it's all good. Cause they knew I was on sign after, so we can come another time. So they're saying all good. You know, spot is still here for you. So like that. So.
Which coaches are you talking to over there?
Coach Napier, Coach Pruitt, and Coach Saban.
Okay. And Napier's kind of been the guy involved with you the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. And Coach Kiffin, too.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah.
So they're all working on you now?
Yeah.
Have you talked to them since signing day?
I have.
Are they you calling them or are they calling you?
Calling me.
They're calling
my phone. Yeah.
You're kind of just fielding calls at this point. Huh? Notre Dame, who's your primary point of contact there?
Coach Booker.
Oh, okay. And he's been on you too?
Yeah, Coach Booker, Coach Denson, the running back coach, Coach Denbrock, offensive coordinator, Coach Sanford, the quarterback coach. All of them just hit me up a lot.
Now, they really wanted, like you said, they really wanted you to get it done on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Do you know, can anyone come back and visit? Can they visit again or no?
They can't. That's what they said. They said they can't visit me anymore. I just got I got two more visits to go, so I can visit people, like official.
Right, but
visit.
not Notre Dame again.
Mm-hmm.
You had talked about the 13th to 17th, or your brother maybe had told me that was the time frame to decide. Is that still it?
Yeah, this what our thing is based off right now.
And where'd you get that date? Where'd you get those dates from? I mean, how did you come up with that time frame?
Because I know if we make the scores, we're probably gonna take Georgia's this weekend. Then probably if we make the scores, probably go back. But if we don't make the scores, it'll probably be sometime probably that week after or the week after that, because I had to take the Georgia and Bama official if I don't get in Stanford.
Is there a priority list then if you don't get in, if you do get into Stanford, or between Alabama and Georgia, who you have to choose between?
I haven't even decided that yet.
You haven't made a decision yet. So you guys you're in basketball season. You guys are the #1 seed headed into the playoffs. You play on Thursday, right?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. If you win Wednesday, when do you play again?
Friday.
Okay, so that could affect your ability to take a visit this weekend then, huh?
Well, yeah. If I don't think that really matters, because I have because they'll let me come up that night. It's a Friday night. Because I did the same thing in Georgia Tech.
Right. Oh, after a basketball game. But you haven't. Have you made plans with Georgia for this weekend yet?
I have.
Oh, you have. So you're going to be there. Because I saw some people saying you were going last weekend.
Yeah, I supposed to, but Coach Smart told me not to because they're on vacation.
Oh, really?
It's like, no, we was on vacation, so I would come next week.
Okay. So when will you know 100% that that's going to happen?
Probably after Wednesday.
Okay. We hear a lot of talk about your mom and stuff like that. We know she lives in LaGrange, right?
Yeah.
So how far is that from here? 4 hours away?
Yeah, that's 4.5.
Yeah, it's a long drive. Did she come to a Georgia Tech with you?
She came up there for a little while, then she came back. I know that came down. The coaches went down there to see her for my visit. Like, I was on my visit, then they just went down there to see her, then came back up.
Oh, okay.
Because it's only like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
from
45
Atlanta.
minutes or an hour from Atlanta. What's her thoughts on everything that's going on?
Well, she don't really care about the football thing. She more like academic, and I mean she loves Georgia Tech, and she love she don't like, she likes Stanford because it's academic, but she says it's too far. She don't, because it's too far and stuff like that.
She doesn't want you to go that far from home. How often you guys see each other usually during? I mean, with her being far away as it is.
Probably once a month, twice a month.
No, really. And both your brothers live down here, right?
Yeah.
How old are your brother Carlos? He's your guardian, right?
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's 32. Mike is 34.
Oh, okay. So you kind of have a good support system down there with them. And then your sister, she lives with she did live with your mom. Is she at school now?
She's not.
When is she going to school?
Probably this spring.
Okay. And she's still going to Alabama A&M.
Well, it's either them, because she told me, I was talking to her, she told me Alabama A&M or Alabama, because she said Alabama offered her a scholarship to come on the team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So when did that happen? Recently?
Like after signing it. Not after signing, but
after Army?
Army, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because there was some confusion. I saw some people, because you told me Alabama.
Yeah, she told me. I'm going off of her.
And then
she's saying.
I said Alabama, and then everybody jumped on my case. They were firing shots at me on Twitter and stuff.
What they were saying?
You know, People love to, unfortunately, I run my mouth so much. People love to come back at me, which I enjoy. It makes it fun, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so time's kind of. Are you feeling like I have a strict deadline of the 17th, or are you cool with it going even longer?
I'm cool with it going even longer, but I mean, if it's 17th, then if my brother decided for me to do it on 17th, then I go on 17th. But I can go even longer, but like probably another week longer.
If you had to do it today, do you have a decision in your mind?
No.
No, so you're still completely undecided.
Mm-hmm.
Have you paid attention to any of the talk about people, saying, this is for attention or anything like that?
Oh, I didn't know that. But no, it's not really for attention. It's just I'm trying to get into Stanford because I've been working towards it, and I've been like putting them as my number one because I'm trying to get over there to see the school because I know it's a high prestigious school for academics, and they got a good football team too. So I just want to see what's out there.
So if Stanford weren't in the mix, like if you already knew, hey, I don't have the score, I can't get in, you probably would have announced on signing day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're the holdup, huh? It's all for them?
Yeah.
What does it mean, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure. I was talking to one of your teammates, Zach, and he said people are on you in the hallways and people are, like you said, coaches are calling you all day. How are you handling that? How are you tuning out all that stuff?
Well, just really, just taking it all in. I don't think the students really influenced me on my decision. Really, just a family-based decision. Like, me and my brother sit down and talk about it, and what's best for me, where I feel like, where I fit in and where I feel like home. Mm-hmm.
Has it been stressful?
Kind of, a little bit, but, it's because, that's just been blowing me up. Like, in the beginning it was, but now it's, cool, because I'm used to it now.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't have your phone for a while, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have it. Yeah.
So now that you have it, it's it's nonstop. Okay. When you do announce, how are you going to do it? You gonna have us out here? Or you gonna just?
It's either here or up there where my mom is.
Oh, really? Okay. You think about doing it at her house?
Yeah.
Are you going to sign a letter of intent? Do you know? Are you gonna? Because last year we had Roquan Smith. He never signed his letter. I think he signed a grant and aid agreement. Yeah. Do you know the difference between those two? Or?
Yeah, me and my brother been talking about it. So, our plan is we're probably gonna sign either. I don't know. I think it's financial. I think we want to do that one.
Okay, so you have some flexibility if somebody leaves. What would your concern be? What would make you change your mind?
Probably just a coaching stuff. If they leave.
If a coach changes or something like that. The local pressure of Georgia. We see your coach out on the basketball court wearing Georgia gear. We know people love Georgia here in Savannah. Do you feel that influence at all? People asking you about it?
I feel a lot of influence from Savannah. That's all they talk about. All my school talk about Georgia, Georgia. But it's a great influence. Just have it's sort of like a networking alumni base as itself for kids and stuff like that. Because they love Georgia. And if you come from Georgia and trying to get a job, you got people around, set you up. So.
Right, and we know that's something you're considering. What's up? We should ask about the other schools you visited. Cal, you're wearing. People can't see right now, but you're wearing head-to-toe Cal gear. What's going on with them? Are they still hitting you up?
Yeah, they still hit me up. I ain't on down Cal. I think when I went out there, it was a great visit. I know probably it's too far from my mom, but I really like it out there. But I'm sitting down and talk to her about it. I don't think they're out of Cal. I don't think Cal out of it either. You know what I'm saying?
And then Georgia Tech, you said that's mom's favorite, right? You went up there. It seems like you had a good time.
Yeah, I had a good time.
What'd you think of it? What would you think of spending time in the city? It's a different vibe, right?
Yeah, it was way different. Just because usually when you go to Alabama, it's really no city like Atlanta, a big city around. But Atlanta is downtown, right there. Everything's near you. The college is right there too. So.
And how much is mom kind of pushing that agenda of?
A lot, because she's right there. She's 45 minutes away, and it's a good education.
How far is she from Tuscaloosa?
Tuscaloosa, 2.5.
Oh,
3. From Atlanta, I think. right?
Yeah, she's in LaGrange. It's farther down. It's on the way, isn't it? I can't really remember. Yeah. LaGrange is on the way south to Columbus.
Yeah.
For those people who don't know, people listening to this podcast from all over the country.
Oh, really?
They will when we play it.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, man. Thanks a lot for coming.
Be done.
Boy, what a conversation, Rob. You had a chance to listen to it earlier today. What did you think of everything? Seems like a crazy situation with our boy D-Rob.
Look, man, that conversation is all the proof that I need to dispel any notion that fans have out there that he's doing this to build drama. If he's doing this strictly to build drama, then he deserves an Oscar, because that's some of the best acting to be a clueless person that I've ever heard in my life. I mean, I think he's confused. I don't think he knows where he's going to sign, even now. Maybe he has an idea. It's obviously, hinges on Stanford. But, I mean, that would have been one heck of an acting job, wouldn't it? I mean, he's going in every different direction. He's talking about getting it done within the week, but at the same time, he's talking about trying to gain admission to Stanford, which doesn't happen overnight. And he's talking about visits. I mean, nothing seems to be – he doesn't really know where his sister's going to school, despite where she's enrolled. It seems all very convoluted to me, which tells me that everything's still up in the air with him, at least a little bit. Some semblance of mystery left, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's a big difference between, his sister running track at Alabama A&M and running track at Alabama, as we talked about on the show, and it's crazy. I think the whole situation this is all done for Stanford's benefit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's clear that I think had he not had Stanford as an option, he would have signed with Notre Dame on signing day. But now, because he's waiting on Stanford, that actually has opened the door for Georgia and Alabama. Now, he did say he is going to visit Georgia this weekend during one of those sound clips. So at least for now, that's what I expect to happen. But then, of course, he kind of couched it later when he talked about if I get into Stanford, that may change. We're going to find out on the 11th, which is in 2 days. Today we're recording this on the 9th. So, boy, I mean, this is a wild one. But
here's the thing, man. Are we going to find out on the 11th? Like, he's going to find out maybe the test score on the 11th, but the Stanford admissions, even when they get prodded by football to hurry up, that doesn't happen overnight, does it?
No, I think I was told today 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, so, I mean, what is he just going to take a gamble here and be like, all right, I'm going to Stanford, and then what if they tell him, no, you're not going to Stanford? Then what? I mean, I'm sure he'll be able to find a place to land. He's talented as any player there is, but this isn't going to drag on for 3 weeks. Right.
Well, I think if you're a fan of Notre Dame or Alabama or Georgia, you're hoping he doesn't get the score, because then if he doesn't get the score, he's going to focus on making that decision. He talked about the 17th. He actually said they're planning on coming up here to Atlanta to announce at the College Football Hall of Fame. So, they do a lot.
Hold on. I just want to go back to that sentence of, if you're a fan of Alabama or Georgia, you're really hoping this kid screws that test up. I mean, that's exactly what you said.
Well, that's true, isn't it? I mean, if he gets the test, he's probably not sticking around.
I guess if you're a militant fan of one of those schools, you are. But I'd like to think that there are people out there that, even no matter what their fandom is, isn't rooting against a kid's test score. Is that where we are?
Well, I think that is where we are based on. So, I mean, unfortunately, I see a lot of people at all three schools, or whoever that Demetris is still considering, kind of calling him a prima donna, a diva. But like you said, as you hear it from his words there, he's just confused. Doesn't seem like he knows where he wants to go or what he wants to do. I mean, it's pretty simple.
It's a great acting job if he's really building drama, because that interview is, I mean, he is all over the place.
So here were my biggest takeaways. I think if you're a Notre Dame fan, the longer this goes, the kind of the worse it is for you. You heard him say that the coaches really pushed him to sign on signing day. He didn't do it, so I think that was a sticky situation. If you're a Georgia fan, you want him on campus this weekend. You need him to make that visit, because then you really have the edge, because you got the last visit. If you're Alabama, the same thing. You're kind of hoping that you get him on campus before he announces that decision, because if not, I just don't think it's going to happen. Personally, I think, despite Alabama wanting to get back in the mix, I just don't know how much of a priority they are. And personally, I think this is a decision that he's going to make with his brother. I know he mentioned his mom. I just don't get the sense that that she's going to be super involved in the decision making, just because she lives quite a ways away, as we talked about.
I still think that when the chips fall, and this could change because, like I said, I don't think he knows where he's going. If I was handicapping it, I still think he's going to land at Notre Dame.
All right, so the Notre Dame fans, don't yell at Andrew Ivins as much. He grinded. Actually, because I was driving so much yesterday, sent him the audio. I drove down there, did the interview, sent him the audio, and then drove back, and he actually wrote up a recruiting-centric part of this interview. So, I mean, we're doing the best we can. I think, as we said, we're one of the few places to talk to him and his brother on a regular basis. So that's the latest info you have. Take it however you want to take it, but we'll continue to cover this, or at least Andrew will. I think I'm going to be out of commission for a couple of days, which is why we're recording the way we did this week. So I think we'll still have a couple more episodes where we talk about it, don't you, Rob?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we're not done with D-Rob by any stretch of the imagination. He's our favorite topic now. Although our boy Kongbo is really closing in on him, right? Like, as long as this thing goes, I just like talking. I might talk about that kid just to talk about him when he's at Tennessee.
Kongbo's a lot more fun, actually, just because.
Well, his name is more fun to say for sure.
Right, and and we've never actually talked to him. I think you and I both know Demetris really well. We see him all the time. Kongbo is a mystery, and that makes it much more fun. I did want to touch on one other thing real fast. That's actually not on the rundown. We talked about Tennessee and the receivers earlier. I personally, right now, I do see Clemson landing Amari Rodgers this weekend on Valentine's Day, and I think T. Higgins isn't far behind. And I've also heard, which is where I wanted to loop you in, from a couple people that it's looking like James Robinson may also join the list around the same time. Do you think Clemson's definitely a school to beat for him?
Yeah, it has been for a very long time. Clemson, you talk to his coaches and you talk to James himself. Clemson has done such a great job with him. They've prioritized him from the jump. And like I said, they've been able to sell the success that, Ray McLeod has had and guys from that area that are going to Clemson and really shining, and I think James buys into that. I think James buys into, obviously, the success on the field. It's not very hard to sell Clemson right now when you're coming off an appearance in the national title game. A lot of stars align for them in that area of Florida, and I don't think anybody's ever really been close. I think that he will commit to Clemson. What happens from there, I mean, who knows? It's so early, and we've seen, coming off signing day, how many of these guys that signed with schools were committed elsewhere, and crazy things happen, but I think there will be a James Robinson commitment to Clemson in the future. After that, I'm not making any predictions.
So if they get that trio of wide receivers, that's a huge group, and that fits. I actually did a long feature story back in December about the three types of receivers that they like to have, and those three actually fit perfectly exactly what they're looking for. So Clemson off 2017, now they've got Hunter Johnson, a 5-star quarterback. They got Chase Bryce, a 4-star quarterback who actually won our quarterback challenge. And then they already have 3 other commits. So they're already at 6 commits, and signing day was just a week ago. It's interesting. Their strategy seems to be build the class early. They've done it the past few years, I think, dating back to Deshaun Watson. I think he committed right around signing day. There's a couple other players that I think are going to join that Clemson list soon. What do you think about their strategy of trying to load up with these guys? And they don't seem to have a lot of decommitments. They load up early and they seem to hold on to them.
No, they hang on, even with the out-of-state guys. T.J. Chase is a good example from that. He committed to Clemson early last year, and they held on. He never even visited anywhere. So, whatever they're doing in Florida anyway, or in my region, is working very well for them to get early commitments and keep them. I think that they're very high on Trajan Bandy, who is a Columbus kid, a Rivals 250 defensive back. I think that they're high on his list. So there'll be a player for him as well.
Yeah, and then we had Lee Anthony Williams and Xavier McKinney, who popped in with us. Xavier committed to Alabama, but he also visited Clemson recently, and so did Lee Anthony. So I personally think Clemson is doing exactly what they need to do to keep things rolling, and just keep an eye on those guys that may not make headlines now, but when we look back at their class and say, geez, they're going to have 10 commits by the end of February, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's move on to Rants and Recommendations. We got we were trying to make it a shorter episode this week. I don't know if we succeeded or not. So let's roll right in and get them done. I think I'll start. You like this rant too, though, so you can jump in. I don't know if you noticed, the ESPN has a new ombudsman. For those who don't know, that's basically a guy who works in-house at media outlets and writes about editorial decisions and way things are handled. Kind of, they feel free to be critical of their own organization. He wrote about Grantland.com and the decision by ESPN to shut it down back in October. And the article, it was okay. It wasn't anything earth-shattering. But the former Grantland employees then take to the airwaves and really, or I guess the Twitterverse, and go on their typical rant, talking about how special of a place it was. And I think the one quote I saw was from Dave Schilling, that one that really caught my eye, where he said, the last thing I'll say about this, if you weren't in that office with us at the end of Grantland, you don't have a clue what happened.
I want to jump in here. I have some pretty good friends that work there, so I don't want to pile on too hard. There are some people, and not all of them by any stretch. Grantland was great. I loved Grantland. They did some really great work there that's not... Since it's been gone, that void has not been filled, I don't think. I think there's some really good writing that happened there. But nobody liked Grantland as much as some of the people that worked at Grantland liked Grantland, I think. Like I said, I'm going to tread lightly here because I don't want to lose some friendships. But that's as far as I'll go.
Well, listen, I loved Grantland. I think I read it more when it first started, and then I really just listened to the podcast and kind of stopped making it to the website after a while. I don't know why. It wasn't like I thought it sucked. It just kind of fell out of my daily routine. But listen, guys, it was a website. It was a place you worked. It's cool. I mean, I like working at Rivals. We're trying to do some different stuff here. Here's the thing. In
defense of Grantland, there are very few places today that will allow writers to write and take time to write. Everything is about, quantity and news aggregation and clicks. And maybe that's kind of at the expense of actual good reporting and writing. And there are websites that do that. I mean, and there's some enterprise jobs at newspapers that allow people to do that. But there aren't a lot of places like Grantland that have a stable of writers that are allowed to take time and write those kind of stories. And so that's why I could see why it's special. I'm sure that, business dictates that maybe that's not what the masses want. But, it was nice to have that website there. Like I said, though, I mean, the people that worked at Grantland really did enjoy Grantland. They like to talk about it.
Well, so listen, we love you, Grantland. I still follow Bill Simmons and his crew over at Channel 33 or whatever news site they're going to do. I will read it, but guys, let's not act like we're curing cancer. Okay, you had a website where you wrote about pop culture. You know what I mean? Okay, so simmer down. Okay, that's all. It's a tame rant, but it's like, guys, we get it. You know what I mean? You wrote, you're cool. You compared. I can't even think of an article. I can't even remember an article.
You compared NBA players to Saved by the Bell episodes.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know if that actually existed. I'm sure it did.
Guess what? The Big Lead did that in 2004, so it wasn't like you were.
But there was also very well reported enterprise pieces. I don't want to make it sound like Grantland was was that only.
Sports by Brooks.
Yeah, we're really boiling it down.
All right, so what's yours? I have a recommendation also.
I don't have a rant this week. I've been so busy with signing day. I will recommend something in your hometown. I had the chance to eat on the way to the airport. I had brunch at a place called The Nook in, I believe, Midtown Atlanta. And they serve these things, and, they're not special by any, I didn't get them at other places. But they're famous there, and they're called tachos. Have you had these?
No, I haven't.
Well, they're famous for this at the Nook. It's a really cool place. They're nachos, but instead of chips, they're tater tots. So, it's the most unhealthy thing. I'm sure it was a $5,000 or 5,000 calorie gut bomb. But, it was delicious. And they have different kinds of tachos at this place where, you can get nacho tachos or fish tachos or whatever kind of tachos are available. And, I really enjoyed it. It was probably the best brunch I've ever had.
Yeah, but boy, there are so many good places to eat in the city of Atlanta. Underrated food city, in my opinion. I mean, I try to go someplace new every time. I've lived here for a few years.
It's not Miami or New York, but, for a small southern town, landlocked city, it does okay.
Yeah, I don't know if the food's that good in Miami. What food is good in Miami?
Everything, man. It's world class chefs down here, man. Yeah, of course. If
you like Latin American food,
no, it's not all that though. There's a lot of good Cuban food, but then if you get out towards Brickell and those areas, you know, it's a lot of 5-star restaurants and 5-star resorts. There's a reason that, you know, Miami is a dining and
a bunch of overpriced, a bunch of stuff that's way overpriced.
Well, of course. I mean, that's the game you play when you live in a city with like a beach and real like things to do, and not like landlocked with a bad baseball team. And
nobody cares about baseball. You're the only person under 35 who cares about baseball.
I'll tell you what sums up Atlanta here is the fact that the only rental car they had when I got there for signing day, the only thing left at budget was a pickup truck. I mean,
that's because so many people came into town that that was all that was left.
Because people have to move their wheelbarrows.
Yeah, it's a destination. Well, listen, I wish I had we ended up using that truck to move some boxes out of my place, so it seemed to work out pretty well for me.
Absolutely. I don't really hate Atlanta. I just like saying this to get a reaction from Woody. I really did have a great time there, and I've been there many times. It's a nice city. I just like to condescend to people. It's sort of what I do.
My recommendation, real quick, is a Twitter account this week. It's called Kicks Deals. The handle is @KicksDeals, and it's exactly what it is. It's a website that aggregates shoe deals. So if you like sneakers of all types, I've got many deals off there, which I get complimented on. Actually, yesterday when I was talking with Demetris,
like how you slip that in there, which I get complimented on.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think you like those Gulf of Mexico shoes I sent you. Those
those were sweet.
Those bluish ones, and like I said, you're getting them all at a pretty good discount. And like I said, they aggregate them all day. It's an interesting business model. I don't know if the shoe companies pay them or if they're just sitting here refreshing websites to see what's on sale. But I mean, I bought one pair of shoes from a skate shop in San Diego, and they were like 70% off, and they shipped them right here for like $4. So at Kicks Deals, I would highly recommend following that account.
Before we go, I just think the people need to know that you, Woody Womack, are 10 times the bargain shopper of anybody's grandmother. I mean, I've never known somebody as young as you that is so good and dedicated to hunting down deals everywhere. Have you ever paid full price for anything in your life?
I don't like to. I mean, you're talking about when you come from the streets like me, you grow up going to Goodwill and
the mean streets of Oregon.
Yeah, Cottage Grove, Oregon. Big shout to the St. Vincent de Paul where my Aunt Edith worked as a kid, and she used to give us a discount. Imagine that, a discount at the St. Vincent de Paul thrift store.
Do you steal Splenda packets from restaurants?
Well, boy, when the first time I wish Nick was on this recording. Maybe he could record a separate bit. But the first time Nick ever met me, we were covering an event together. I think it was the state baseball finals down in Florida. And we were at a hotel, and I was just shoving my pockets full of, like, hot cocoa and tea.
All right, yeah, as soon as Nick cuts this, I want Nick to come on and give us a monologue of this. Hopefully he'll do that. Hopefully he'll come on here afterwards and monologue this story.
All right, well, if you just listen to Nick tell the story about me stealing condiments, then more power to you. And I guess what I'm going to continue to do it, even though I've scaled it back tremendously. Once I get a house, though, Rob knows I'm living in a smaller apartment now, but once I buy that house, best believe there's going to be an entire pantry full of Splenda. So thanks for listening. That wraps it up for us. I guess we ended up going longer than we expected. We got a conference call to hop on right now, but once again, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud. You find us all. Just search for Commitment Issues. Our Twitter is @RivalsPodcast. Please leave us a review on any of those sites we mentioned earlier. And email us, rivalspodcast@yahoo.com.
And the beat is by our boy M. Deuce, and you're tapping your foot to that right now?
Yeah, exactly. M. Deuce continues to kill it, and that's it. We'll be back next week, Rob.